All right, this is for Fran Fabretti, and the first thing that I did was you've got. Let me just go here first. You've got the two versions here. You've got the one with the glowing arms, and then the one without. And I'm going to work on the one without for now. So the first thing that I would say right off the bat is I separated the character from the background to get a little bit more interest or a little bit more workability here. And so what I've done is essentially one of the things that you have to look at is your perspective of this. It almost looks like he's kind of running, like coming downhill. And so you want to think about silhouette and you want to think about um, a number of different things as far as composition. Right now, it's very um, kind of a bland composition. And the first thing I would do is I would take, like this, I would take the darks and I'm going to paint over the background here. And think about the light. This is your light source down here on the ground. And the first thing is I'm just going to, let's grab something like this. And I'm going to grab this darks in here and really kind of, that's my idea. Now I'm going to grab, I've got just a square brush here. And I'm going to grab some of the real dark, and I don't need that. I'm going to grab some of the real dark information here, and let me go a little bit darker, and put in some of the shadows for that rock. All right, so you have kind of this light forcing the information, the shadow information on the rocks. And what I can do then is kind of push that information over. And do you see now how I'm drawing the eye towards the center? Whereas before, you kind of had everything covered up with fog and gases and stuff. And so by doing this, by getting rid of those fog gases and things like that, you can still put them in there, but you want to add those red colors and you want to add that solid color around how things are kind of lining up. So this is my light source, like so. And I'm just going to kind of add in some of the darks here, and we're just going to add in like so. So like this, right? And so by layering this, I'm getting more of a sense of actual construction. And then what I'm going to do is, because this is so bright, this is hot and ridiculously hot, I'm going to add in more of those yellow tones. All right? And that's going to really offset him from the background and work kind of uh, in balance of your upper background here. Now, with that being done, then the thing that I'm going to do next is look at the character itself. And now I'm just going to kind of grab some of this information. Now, if you look at the character, and here's how I here's how I look at the character. You look at it as a silhouette. So if we just turn that into black, that's right now your general silhouette for your character. And as you can see, it really doesn't read well after where the cape is. So what we're going to do is we're going to adjust some of the capes, and I would do something like this. So I would grab this, and just going to grab something like this, and we're just going to cut that out, put that underneath, and actually hide that for now, and then clean back this up here with my brush so I can all right, something like that. And so do you see how by putting some of that, getting rid of that cape, now my silhouette has changed. I've got a much more interesting concept going on, and I've got a much more interesting silhouette going on. I can still have the cape in there, but what I'm going to do with the cape is I'm going to actually get out of there. Transform the cape here and put horizontal and so something like that with the cape. And let's just erase this right here. Okay, so with that being said, the next thing I'm going to do is do some exaggeration. You've got the hands here. I'm going to exaggerate them a little bit because they're kind of small, and just by making them a little bit bigger, they become much more interesting. All right, and then the next thing I'm going to do is, I think that's a decent concept now. The foot looks kind of awkward. I would fix the foot here because the foot looks like it's not really, it's kind of a floating. Like I get what you're trying to do with a mid step, but I would definitely go over this with, let's go over this with our black here, like something like this, and let's erase this. And we're just going to add some of this bone here, like that. We'll add some of this yellow up here and some reds, things like that. So that makes it look a little bit more interesting. And then the next thing I'm going to do is, you've got some anatomy issues going on and things like that. But the main thing is kind of your lighting. So if your lighting is this, really dense idea, and I'm just going to go in here, that a little bit. And so your lighting is your main concern. And if I'm lifting this foot, and I'm just going to draw some notes here to show you. So if I'm walking, let's go with blue, so blue stands out. Okay, so I'm walking here, and you've got your torso, you've got the skull looking over like this, you've got the spine, this is the hips, and you have this foot out, and it would be like something like that. And then this foot is going to almost be something like that. So that's going to kind of elongate, and then you're going to have an arm here, which is, I would assume it's this arm here, and then you'll have another arm here pulling out like this. So this is your step concept. So what we need to do is we need to adjust for the lighting. If you've got a solid light here, you're going to get the darks over here like so, and that's going to cast a shadow up like this. Even though there's light on both sides, you're going to get rid of some of that like so. And then you're going to get a real highlight, which I'm going to use some of this right here, and possibly even somewhat on the foot. And then you're going to get, again, shadows up on top here. Grab the darker shadows here, and it might even cast light up here like so. And then you're going to have, because this is blowing, you're going to have the shadows on top of that as well as some of this area here. And so you really need to look at lighting. I would get a reference from down underneath, and you can see how something like this really will kind of push that lighting a little bit more. So something like this, all right? And then let's add in this bright lighting. So we've got our bones here, and this is being backwards here, so you might get some light coming up here, and you might get some ridge light up here, depending on how that is. You get some more lights up here, and this is all things that you need to kind of think about when you're constructing this character. Like I said, if you got some good lighting from below, that's going to give you some interesting light. And now, if this is your local source, you might even have kind of this rim light around the outskirts where things are popping in. And we're just going to add a little bit more light here, and then we're going to cut off some of that light there. You're going to add in some light from underneath if he's sitting forward enough, maybe even from under here and up under here. So you're going to get these real lights and darks, a real solid contrast of how that character is kind of promoting towards forward. So that is kind of what you're looking at versus as before. You've got all this stuff going on. Now, if you still want to add in like he's burning, you can still do that. We can just take something like this and kind of start smoking it where he's touching, and that actually would have its own light as well, reflecting from, and you'd probably have these little like dots and stuff like this coming all over. So that type of thing is what you're really looking for, I think, versus before you've just got this kind of blasé sense of lighting, and you want a more accurate sense of lighting to give you what you're looking for. So I would definitely get some poses of yourself just with a real sharp underlight, and I think you'll be happier with the image. So you go from this to this. And then if I'm just going to grab these here, and so now looking at this, you can see that the silhouette reads a lot better. Still, it's got some issues, but I can fix some of those issues with just going in and erasing. Let's get rid of that. Going in and fixing some of those issues by erasing some of that line work to basically pop out a little bit more. All right, I hope that helps.